So happy to be here today for a couple of reasons. One is that certainly maybe some of you saw that we had quite a long discussion about whether or not our organized retail theft was going to be continued to be funded by the county, and I am very happy to report that due to the efforts of community members, individuals, some businesses and organizations, the county did choose to pick up that funding, and so we're going to continue this great work that we have before us here today. You know, we're going to talk a little bit about the amazing work of our Deputy DA, Teresa Turner, and of course her investigator, Rebecca Lauderdale, but that only occurs with our really intense partnership that we have with Portland Police and the work that they do, which is amazing. And this is a great example of how we are out there just day in, day out, working for the community to really bring results and get what I think the community has recognized has been out of control for the past few years, and get it back to a place that this community feels good about. And so today is a day where we're going to talk about some big arrests on a recent case with some individuals involved in organized retail theft. And we're going to talk about our continued efforts to make sure that we're bringing justice to this community. So, Teresa, take it away.
Thank you so much. We're excited to give you an update of some of the projects that we've been working on. This one in particular is a multi-jurisdictional project that we've been working on that in fact affects not only Oregon but Washington State as well. And this arrest of the two individuals, Markeisha McGruder and Alexis Jackson, who have been charged with multiple counts of organized retail theft, aggravated theft, and multiple counts of theft 1. These reach the point of kind of this big collaboration with these multiple jurisdictions due to the kind of patterns that multiple retailers were seeing with the thefts occurring, and multiple methods that were being used, or the same car, the way that things were set up, and the way in which this group would the way in which this group would operate. When I talk about the collaboration, I like to give a little bit more detail to what I mean by that collaboration. We worked with the Department of Justice Agent Patrick McNair, Officer David Ramos with PBB in East and North Precinct helped us in coordination with this case. And through the meticulous work, looking through all the surveillance footage, not just in our jurisdiction, but other jurisdictions, that close coordination and communication and witness statements and surveillance, lots and lots of surveillance footage, which I will be showing you here today, and we'll also be providing you with a copy. This is a huge step in dismantling this group that has caused over 6 figures worth of theft in our county alone. Miss McGruder and Miss Jackson, they're connected to a broader framework. Multiple individuals have outstanding warrants currently. I won't be able to give you a lot of details regarding those, unfortunately, but more will be to come. And just combing through all of this and working and collaborating in ways that we've never done this before was really, really exciting, and we really enjoyed working on this project. This is one of the videos I wanted to show you. This is with Lululemon, and this is just an example of some of what these incidents involve. And you'll see in here where it is Miss Gruder and Miss Jackson stuffing just a bunch of merchandise in bags in their coats and exiting the store without paying for that merchandise. Lululemon has been hit really hard. For those of you guys that were at that arraignment, it's over $50,000 of loss that they've experienced with crimes like this going on, and people just going in and taking stacks of leggings off the wall and walking out of the store within minutes, sometimes even seconds.
So this is really an ongoing effort where, certainly this is a part of that greater organization, but this is one where we are going to continue to seek out anyone that's involved. We've done this both kind of in the small business context with some of those burglaries we've seen, but we're also doing it very much in the organized retail theft space, and it's with the partnership of our officers. And we really just appreciate their work kind of day in, day out to take this on. I don't know if you guys have anything you'd like to
Yeah,
add?
you want to talk a little bit about kind of the investigation and the arrest portion?
Yeah, we got introduced to this case. Obviously they were coming downtown. Lululemon's in our district here at Central Precinct, and got a lot of help from Teresa. They were at this point already in ongoing investigation with these two subjects. We got further assistance with the Organized Retail Crime Association of Oregon, so they were great help in identifying who these folks were and their kind of pattern. And obviously that all kind of came together with the coordinated arrest out in the east, where we were able to identify where they were staying and coordinate a traffic stop and safely get them into custody. So that was great.
And was there some property recovered as well?
Yeah, so within the vehicle, I think there was 25 items. A lot of those items still had the magnetic security tags on them. I think one of the tags looked like it had been melted down as an attempt to remove. There was another security tag that had some stuff on it. A lot of stuff that we identified as possibly stolen.
Great. Well, what you're seeing here is part of an ongoing and very continued effort. Certainly we are thankful to the county commissioners for renewing this funding for this upcoming year. We, of course, will be working with state grants to obtain and try to increase our footprint in this area, as we're really looking to be as aggressive and active as we can in this space. We want to make sure that this type of crime, it affects everything from grocery stores to some of our favorite retailers to small businesses. And we want to make sure that this community isn't losing businesses because of this. And so we're going to take every effort we can to really curb this activity and go after those individuals that are responsible for this.
Anybody have any questions?
So what I'm hearing is this sounds like it's part of a larger organization out there. Can you kind of expand on that? How do you know these two women are part of something bigger, and just kind of expand on what you mean by that?
Well, I'm a little limited in what we can say because, as I stated, there's still multiple outstanding warrants. And going back to what Officer Ramos said, identification through people that have personal knowledge of them, have seen them in person, those kind of investigative efforts is how we have done that. I can't really say too much on how that's connected, but we do have multiple outstanding warrants. This did involve multiple jurisdictions, neighboring jurisdictions as well.
What happens is that when you have an organization, like this, and then where you have multiple individuals engaged in criminal conduct, really throughout the state, perhaps throughout the West Coast, when you pair that or combat that with this type of an organized retail theft approach, you're able to kind of dig through and comb through. That's why our investigator Lauderdale is so helpful in this, is that you dig through and comb through all of those from up and down the West Coast, and you start to identify more and more people that are involved and really dig at the core source of this organized crime ring. And so we're out there using those tools, looking with our kind of partners in the business world and saying, hey, can you identify this person? Are they involved in other things? And we're doing that to really kind of look at that bigger ring of individuals.
Are you able to identify any other victims besides Lululemon that were hit by these women or this whole ring?
Yeah, I'll bring up the ones that are currently known right now, which is Dick's Sporting, I'll bring up the ones that are known right now and already out in the public, which is Dick's Sporting Goods. As you mentioned, Lululemon. We have Bath and Body Works has been hit pretty bad, and so has Old Navy.
Yeah.
As far as the group they're a part of, what can you share? You mentioned different jurisdictions. Is this multiple states? Are they local? How big are we talking? How long has this group in particular? What can you share about what they're a part of?
So,
These people have been affecting the local area since about 2016, and it has gone between multiple states.
Do we know where they're from? Like, are they from the area? Are they coming, is this like a national thing that they're a part of? Are they a local group that's been hitting the local area?
I would say they're a local group that's been hitting throughout the state of Oregon and Washington State.
Are you able to share how big of a group we're talking?
About 15 individuals.
Can you give us a little bit of background on just retail theft in general? Is this something that's kind of ramped up in the last 10 years, you said, 5 years? Or has this been a problem that's been ongoing for decades or so?
Happy to answer that, or if one of
Yeah.
you would like to take it.
I can probably take a portion of it. I would say it's been a problem. Definitely, I think skyrocketed in 2020, and it's been an ongoing issue. I think a big problem is that a lot of the stores downtown, a lot of stuff goes underreported.
Yes.
So that has been a challenge, and so an accurate number would be kind of difficult to say.
I mean, the way that I look at this is that, you know, it started to get really out of control in 2020. And as the community really started to feel the brunt of this, we saw some businesses leave. You know, we've tried to respond. And one thing that I have been very clear about is that I want to see people held accountable. I want to see this, you know, turn around. And, you know, Teresa, Rebecca, the officers, they've been doing a great job. I believe there's a lot more work to be done for us to get back to a really a good place. But, you know, we're heading in the right direction, and we're really fighting hard for that.
Can you give us an idea of, you know, because I'm sure a lot of people at home wondering, like, hey, am I buying some of these items on eBay or some other site? Where do these items ultimately end up, and how do these rings ultimately make money off these thefts?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these do end up on third-party websites or any kind of third-party platforms and are being resold. That is where a lot of the items, we end up seeing a lot of the items. And sometimes where our investigations can begin is online. Some of them we encounter even still have the tags on them because there's this kind of notion that it's worth more with the tag still attached on them. You know, it's a way to show that this hasn't been used in a sense. And so there is a lot of resale on third-party websites. I would just be cautious. I mean, a lot of times it could be in the price. You know, if you're getting a name brand bag and you're only paying $10, $20 for it, and if you were to do a Google search and see what the retail value was, and you know, depending on how big that gap is, that could be an indicator and a flag to you that might not be an item you would want to purchase.
So there's essentially a chance people have bought stuff that have, you know,
Absolutely.
been stolen from stores.
I think the old adage is, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And that's where, you know, it's about using just good common sense. And, you know, we're always big proponents of, you know, buying local, you know, going to those kind of the businesses, the small businesses, and, you know, some of our larger ones in our community, but kind of basically having that certainty of what you're buying.
You mentioned a lot of you know, big national brands when you're talking about the people being hit. So my first question is, are there any like more local places that you aren't able to mention, or are they just mostly targeting these national brands?
There's other businesses, various sizes businesses that I'm not able to mention at this time.
So just for viewers at home that might see, you know, they hear like Navy, you know, like you know, these big national brands, maybe they think like these are just big national brands, they can take the hit, this isn't that big a deal. What's kind of your response to that? Like, how does this affect our community when this happens in our community, when it's a big national?
Absolutely, and our office has hit on this quite a bit too when we're talking about grocery deserts in places where you're having to travel further outside of the county to get groceries because their places are leaving. You're not thinking about the employees that are working in the store and the impact that it has on them. A lot of these retailers, they'll tell you that they hire a lot of single mothers or a lot of young employees who this is going to be their first job ever. And so when you have someone come in and they are bumping them or being really blatant or being really rude, or someone is in their kind of face trying to distract them while someone else is stealing, you're not thinking about the people that are working there. And that is, we're not thinking about their safety and kind of what they're experiencing day in and day out, where people are coming into what we would know as an employee space. Behind the counter, for example, or, we've had incidents where someone went behind the counter and was stealing a bunch of merchandise and then grabbed an employee's purse and things like that. Everyone has a personal space and a personal bubble, and when people are coming in there and kind of doing this just blatantly and not giving a care for how it's impacting the people that are working there. That's what I say. I was like, you're not thinking about the people that make that brand. People go to certain stores because of their experience with those employees, right? And when they're being impacted because this is happening day in and day out and impacting their morale, those are the things that you need to think about.
If I can piggyback
Yeah.
off that, we work downtown every day, and so when these stores close down, we see the holes kind of open up in neighborhoods,
Yep.
and it definitely has an impact. I know I've also seen assaults of employees in these kinds of situations, and it's upsetting to us to see this happen, and so that's why Officer Ramos in particular has been so active in trying to tie together loss prevention and business partners to provide a more effective response. So it does matter.
And even if you don't shop at these stores, right? Like, it affects the economy of the city, and I think in that it kind of affects everyone.
Retail theft, being such a rampant problem, but so easy that somebody could just walk in and put something in their pocket. And it seems like everybody in town's concerned about this problem at large. You talked about, getting towards a better place. Talk about the impact that these missions are having in the problem at large. Are you sort of seeing people be dissuaded from doing things like this? What are you seeing over the past few years, and how are we getting to that better place?
And sorry, go ahead.
No,
Anybody?
please.
When you ask about missions, are you talking about the retail theft, the blitz missions?
Well, like what we're talking about today, these arrests. We also talked a couple weeks ago, that was $3,000 worth of merchandise. This is $100,000.
Yeah.
How are these all at large getting to that better place?
I think we're introducing accountability, right? We're introducing this fear of committing crime downtown. So, and that I think ultimately will lead to, hopefully will lead back to businesses considering coming back and kind of revitalizing Portland.
Yeah.
as a whole.
And just to dovetail on that, what I would say is, we're really starting to see our downtown come back to life. And we're seeing our overall community come back to life. And it is, I believe, very much tied to a sense of, is this a safe place that where businesses can thrive, where families can come and feel like they're in a safe environment? And certainly these types of arrests and that are really all a part of that. And we're all pushing towards that. I don't believe there's ever one silver bullet. It takes everyone in this community kind of working together to create that. But this is that idea that under all of that, we're going to provide that base of public safety that's going to make people feel, comfortable, welcome to come to our city, because this city is ready to really take off, and we want to be a part of that.
Is there just generally an item or type of items that may be at a certain price point, or the way where they're placed in the store, that are targeted specifically by groups like this, where they would say, hey, this is something we're going to look to get our hands on possibly?
If I understand the question is the way that the store is set up, make it an easier target?
Or essentially what items make most sense to try to get their hands on, essentially?
I would say whatever's popular during that season. Closer to school, it might be calculators and different kind of school supplies. It could be, the summer, so kind of those kind of clothings will be kind of targeted more. It kind of changes with the seasons for what most people are shopping with, or when a new popular water bottle comes out, you know, things like that. And so whatever's kind of popular or in season during that time is what we're seeing targeted a lot of.
I think the profit margin for reselling is probably going to be a big.
Yeah.
Very high-end purses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Be a
Yes.
Perennial.
Yes.
This morning, I was able to find the court records for one of the suspects, but the other suspect, Alexis, wasn't appearing on eCourts. Do you know when that will be publicly available?
It should be here soon. I mean, those things can sometimes take a day or two to come up, but we can look into that and get back to you with that.
For the DA, 2 former staffers threatening to sue your office, alleging mistreatment, discrimination. Can you comment on that?
I'll just briefly say, you know, certainly, you know, from my perspective, you know, those allegations are completely, you know, untrue, and we've released statements on those, and I would refer people to those statements.
Have you had conversations with those staffers since they've left about this possibility?
I would refer you to the statements.
Anything else?
One more going back to the retail theft. We talked about $3,000 of merchandise a couple weeks ago, $100,000. And then you mentioned those third-party sites where people are getting this. Whether it's these small scale or big scale, is the primary motive to just flip this stuff? Or are people stealing this much merchandise to use it themselves? What is the primary motives, whether it's big or small, or does it change?
The cases that we work on, the task force is focusing on, is those ones where someone is using it to flip it. When a lot of the cases that we have, and you know, we talked about this when we were speaking with the commissioners about, you know, funding for these positions, is, you know, when we do the breakdown of our case, my average defendant has about 25 different separate incidents. And so we're talking about someone that's going there over and over and over and over again. I even have someone who has 129 incidents over and over and over and over again. We're not seeing that for personal use. What we're seeing is people disregard for what size the items may be, what kind of usually when people are shopping, they're looking at specific sizes or for either themselves or someone else. We're seeing a disregard for whatever size it is and a stuffing and hurrying, getting in bad and getting in and out. That's what we're seeing a lot of. So we're not seeing it for personal use. We're seeing these people that are doing it to then flip it.
Are there instances where there are specific buyers that keep going back to these people?
I mean, throughout the course of this, we certainly have seen instances of that. You know, we have seen, you know, this office has been very aggressive in going after what we call the fencing operations as well. You know, but what we're dealing with, these aren't people that are, you know, doing a one-off to, you know, put a jacket on. These are people that are looking in a very organized, methodical way to steal and then turn that into a criminal profit. And we are looking to interrupt that, and we're looking to make sure that those people are held accountable.
This is very different from casual shoplifting.
Yes.
It's a criminal enterprise, and so it is, to an earlier question, something that's prone to disruption because it's a very specific activity, much different from shoplifting.
All right.
Do you mind if I have everyone at the table say and spell their names just for the records if we use all of you?
Okay. Eli Arnold, ELI-ARNOLD.
And your position at the Portland Police Department?
I'm on the Central Black Squad.
Okay.
Officer.
What rank? Officer.
Officer.
Yes.
Officer David Ramos, DAVID-RAMOS, with the Central NERC team.
Okay.
Right.
And did we get yours at the beginning? I believe. I can't remember.
I don't know if we did.
No, it's Rebecca, REBECCA Lauderdale, LAUDERDALE.
And your position?
I'm the investigator with the Organized Retail Crime Task Force.
All right. Thank you. And I think we have the both of yours.
All right.
We did it.
Teresa, go ahead.
Teresa Turner, TheresaTurner, and I'm the DDA heading the Organized Retail Task Force.
All right.
All good.
Guy in the suit is Nathan Vasquez.
Nathan, V as in Victor, ASQUEZ. I don't get to say that in court anymore, so this is my chance. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.